But I mentioned that I was also impressed by some of the transactional leaders, two in particular, Dwight Eisenhower and the first Bush, George H.W. Bush, sometimes called Bush 41, because being the 41st president. And it turns out, as I look back over this history, they were as important as these much more flamboyant transformational leaders. Let me tell you why. Eisenhower ran for president because he didn't want Robert Taft, who was an isolationist, to become president and have America repeat its experiences after World War I. So by becoming president and staying in Europe, Eisenhower essentially consolidated the big change that Truman had made. That itself is very important because it made this American presence abroad bipartisan. But there's something else about Eisenhower that is extremely important, and that's what you might call a non-event. We sometimes in history look so much at big events that we forget that non-events can be as important. In 1955, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff came to Eisenhower and said, we're going to have to use nuclear weapons against China. We can't defend these offshore islands of Quemoy and Matsu, which are right on the shoreline of China, because China has conventional superiority there. And so we're going to have to use nuclear weapons, and we recommend it. Eisenhower's comment was, my God, you boys must be crazy. We can't use those awful things against Asians again within 10 years. That's an extraordinary decision. Imagine that instead of Eisenhower, another World War II general who wanted to be president, Douglas MacArthur, had been president, we would have used the weapons. Indeed, MacArthur recommended in 1950 that Truman use nuclear weapons in Korea. The fact that Eisenhower said no, in quotes, a non-event, means that the world today is very different than if nuclear weapons were used as normal weapons of war. So if you ask historically, did a transactional leader make a huge difference because of a decision he made, and you counterfactually substitute, let's say, MacArthur for Eisenhower, the answer is the transactional leader in this case was as important as the transformational ones I've mentioned.